New relics are now available in Rise of Kingdoms, and with the patch, there's a bunch of other things we can see as well, like avatar frames for upcoming events, also the limitation on migration to Season of Conquest Kingdoms, and even a new bundle for legendary gathering equipment of all things. So stick around in this video for everything we found in the patch so far. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today's video is sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And of course I was hyped to see Khan and Saladin now available in the Museum Relic system. This, by the way, is available to you in Season of Conquest. That's KVK Season 4 and beyond, where you can spend some amount of currency to unlock the exhibit, and then even more currency to then go and get the relic for a commander. Now this relic is not cheap. 2,200 of the currency to go and buy this, which I thought it was less for some reason. I don't know if this is a function of the number of commanders I have unlocked relics for, but I don't think it is. I think it's just really expensive to get a relic. So should you relic Khan and should you relic Saladin? Well, I will say this. If you are using Saladin and Saladin is very good, then yeah, 10% cavalry attack and 10% march speed is really, really good. I think the Saladin relic is very promising, and Saladin was already a tanky but great alternative to the meta cavalry. Those meta cavalry, by the way, include Nevsky and Joan, XY, and William, okay? If you're using 2 cavalry marches, ideally it would be some combination of those 4 commanders, but if you didn't have those 4 commanders, or you were working on Saladin and then planning on getting this relic in Season of Conquest, I think that is a great plan. And I know a bunch of people who have a 5/5, 5/1 Saladin that are insanely hyped about this right over here. Now, I'll try to get my hands on someone who's got a relic unlocked over here and do some testing. But until that testing has been done, I would assume that this is a nice boost, but that the 4 commanders that you're already using are not going to be changed from the meta until some new commander is released. So I don't think this dramatically changes Saladin's relevance in the meta, but I do think that it's a nice boost if you have a Saladin. Now, with regard to Khan, I just don't think that 10% defense and 100 damage factor is going to do enough. And I appreciate that when, you have Khan expertise, you get an extra attack with his active skill. That's dope, man. So 100 extra damage factor on the active skill, especially because it has a chance to just trigger all over again, is cool, but I just don't think it's enough. And 10% defense is just not enough. And also, he's a terrible combo with Joan. The reason that he's a terrible combo with Joan is that you have too many active skill activations. You actually slow yourself down. It's bad. And also, you already have a rage reduction on the active skill of XY, and you want him to be the primary. So he's not a replacement for Nevsky or Joan, right? He's not really a replacement for XY, and he's no William. So I think that this is cool, but unfortunately not enough. And then maybe if the double relic goes even more all in on the skill damage and defense plan, which I would assume that it would, maybe then it gets interesting, but for now, the single relic on Khan is not quite enough. But let's talk about something you probably noticed if you've done any legendary crafting. I think this Lost Bundle is associated with doing some amount of legendary crafting, because I have 3 of them on my main account and 1 of them on my restart account. And I was surprised to see this. The Lost Bundle lets you pick 1 from the Gathering legendary equipment. Now, I would assume that if you buy this bundle and you unlock a piece of legendary equipment for the first time, that you get a Vanquisher pop. So the way that I'm viewing this bundle is sort of like $15 for sort of an early access to a Vanquisher pop is how I'm thinking about it. Because this legendary gathering gear, I mean, it's cool, it's good, but unless you're the gatherer for your Ark of Osiris team, I'm not sure that you need to move all in on the legendary gathering equipment. And let me explain. I'm not saying the legendary gathering equipment is bad, but if we look at the equipment you're probably using today, here is what I would say is sort of the meta best you can do set for gathering in your pit, in your alliance pit, okay? It is the 4 pieces of the epic set and the 2 pieces of the blue set. Now, the 2-piece bonus over here is 10% more gathering speed. If you have not made, by the way, the 2-piece blue bonus and put that on literally all your gathering commanders that you use as a primary anyways, you should do that because that's just crazy. Even the epic set only gets really good at the 4-piece bonus, giving you 5% extra resources from gathering. So yes, the gatherer, the farmer Chisgule, who has gathered, what am I up to? 43 billion resources, number 2 in the kingdom, by the way. 43 billion resources. Yes, I've gone in and I've come up with a recommendation for you with regard to the legendary gathering equipment and what you should make. And the good news is you stay away from the boots and you stay away from the legs. Why is that? Well, remember, I told you that your 2-piece bonus over here from boots and legs is a 10% boost. So you get 5% over here, 5% over here, plus you're going to have the special talent bonus. Let's not forget about that. So you're going to have over 20% gathering speed from those 2 pieces. Well, gee, if you make the legendary boots and you make the legendary pants, you'll get 20%. But that's still less than what you'd get from the blues because the blues you're going to talent. So you're basically going to stay away from the boots and the legs. You're not going to pick those from your Lost Bundle crate. And your first 2-piece bonus, by the way, is 25% troop load, which is not good. Like, yeah, you can have less troops out on the field. I mean, this is very much a set for Ark of Osiris, okay? That's what I'm getting to here. The march speed at the 6-piece bonus is kind of interesting. So let's look at the other 4 pieces, okay? You do get a lot of gathering speed from these 4 pieces, but you only replace the extra resources from gathering bonus once you have all 4, which means if you break up this set of 4, you're kind of wrecked for a little bit because you're losing out on the 5% extra resources from gathering. So sure, you gain a little bit of march speed piece by piece, but you lose out on the bonus until you get your 4-piece set reassembled. So yes, I think the first pieces you do are in fact going to be among those 4. You choose among the weapon, the helmet, the gloves, and the chest piece. But I wouldn't move in on that plan for your pit march until you actually can reassemble your 4-piece bonus, I think. Okay, so yes, the legendary gathering gear is cool, but, you know, from like a standpoint of is it critical to work on? No. And obviously, you should only be using your bone. You should not use any pick 1 material crates to go and do this. So just be careful about your pick 1 material crates if you're looking at crafting your gathering gear here, which I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying make sure you don't use your universal crates for bones. That would be a freaking disaster. And on the topic of things that I was worried would be a disaster, let's get a look at the migration changes. You can now see over here that same season immigration for Season of Conquest has a limited number of people that can migrate in a migration season. There's 500 people that can migrate, okay? Now, this is kind of interesting. I assume that 500 number resets every time our migration window resets. If that doesn't reset, that would be a disaster. That would be terrible. And the thing that I was really worried about here is that you could just send low power farms into a kingdom and wreck the kingdom's migration. And you still can do that. However, the developer sent a mail that is very critical. And if we get a look over here, it's probably in my system mail. They realized that players were upset about this and that it could cause a problem. So here's what they said. For kingdoms entering the Season of Conquest for the first time, the immigration quota for the same season is adjusted to 150, applied to kingdoms entering the Season of Conquest after the update only. When Eve of the Crusade event of the first Heroic Anthem story starts, the same season immigration quota for the above kingdoms will be reverted to 500. Okay. Then from here, they say that does the immigration of all characters count toward the quota? And thank goodness the answer is no. For all kingdoms entering Season of Conquest, only characters who have 25 million power or more at our City Hall 25 will count towards that quota. Whew, okay. Slight bullet dodged, because let me tell you, I 100% guarantee you that even with a 25 mil power quota, people are going to troll big Imperium kingdoms and just migrate farms to ruin their migration. Absolutely, 100%, fully guarantee that trolling is going to be happening. 100%. It's not even will it happen, it's how devastating will it be for the migration process. And I think that because it's 25 million power or more, I am far less worried about that, because now you're making people actually pay for every account that they want to troll with. Some amount of money for passports. It ain't that many passports, but I think this is enough of a protection that it probably mostly solves the problem of trolls ruining a migration season. So I was very worried. I am now far less worried, and I think this was a great mail to send out. So good on the developers for making this change and getting this information available to players. Now, on the topic of information that's available to players, I always like to look in at the avatar frames every time a new update rolls in, and it's like, all right, what's coming? We know that and let's see here. Here it is. The avatar frames. Scroll all the way down. We know that a new season, okay, of Ark of Osiris is on the way. There are 2 frames associated with that. But also, here is the sign-in spoils event reward for Lilith's Birthday Bash event series. Lilith is apparently turning 10. I was not aware. I thought Rise of Kingdoms was one of the first games, but I don't know when exactly this Birthday Bash is going to take place. The first thing I noticed when I saw this is like, oh man, I got a Lilith logo on my head here. Literally, it's like on my forehead almost. Or, just above my head, whatever. And then, the 10-year thing, though, is really interesting. Is Lilith turning 10? That's crazy, man. And then up over here, Quill Pals can be obtained from purchasing the Birthday Special Bundle. So we know there's going to be a bundle, and there's going to be some other thing here, a sign-in reward. And then we look over here, and this was the Zenith. So those are the new events we can sort of get a peek at. I looked for city themes, by the way, and I didn't see any. And I've noticed that the developers have kind of moved in on what I used to call when I worked in technology, sort of feature flags, where you could show in your app different things based on back-end stuff you do in your server. And that might sound a little bit complicated, but all that to say, the developers have gotten better and better at not just timing all of the news when an update lands, but choosing when they want certain things to roll out. And one of those things I think we can expect very soon is new archers, okay? New archers should be in-game soon-ish, I would expect, just based on the cycle of commanders and what we would expect to come. But I'm not going to talk about anything related to new commanders until they're actually visible in-game. So it's a prediction that it will be archers. And for a long time, I have predicted that the commanders that we will get will include a garrison and a fielder. I don't know what that fielder is going to do officially, but as soon as I do know, I'll be making a video about that. 2 other minor changes, and I've got to give a shout out to Bat3612, who hooked me up with this information. I know this was mentioned in the patch notes as well, but if you make your way over to the VIP shop, definitely remember Chisgule to hello, buy all the things you normally buy. But also there is a new crate. There's a crate for the gathering gear. I would not spend gems on this. That is insanely expensive for what you're getting. Did I just scroll past it like a zillion times? There it is. Wow, I'm actually blind. What actually happened here is I'm blind. You can spend gems on this. God, it's so expensive. I know whales are going to spend gems on this, the biggest whales. I'm not going to. I have spent gems on these trying to get specific pattern pieces that I needed. Like the time that I literally only needed 1 glove fragment to get a crit before a huge fight where Amani Art was like a critical garrison, okay? I needed literally 1 more fragment. I bought this thing out before reset of the VIP shop, didn't get it. I bought it again after reset of the shop. I didn't get it. It was insane, man. I got so unlucky. So anyways, I've got PTSD, true PTSD from opening these crates. A big enough whale will go for it. And look, before they had lots of ways to get the sets, I used to do that, man. I mean, I bought every week. I'd buy my crates over here. It was insane. So yeah, I just would probably... There will be more efficient ways to go and do that, okay? The other thing that we can get a look at is if you make your way over to the Tavern, Legendary Tavern, rules, bada boom. We got Margaret here. She's new. So you can work on Margaret if you want from the Legendary Tavern. I thought they were maybe going to put her into gold keys, but also because ranged commanders you can't use right away in the game. I thought that was a little bit weird. So it makes a lot of sense, actually, that she's now in the Legendary Tavern. We can see there's a bunch of heroes that are here. We've got Margaret, and then XY is here, and Jadwiga are here, but they updated that in a previous patch. So a lot of different commanders that you can work on specifically from the Legendary Tavern. And I actually think the Legendary Tavern is extremely well designed. If you get excess sculptures, and let me tell you, heroes or commanders you don't actually need turns into value. So I got to give credit where credit's due. The design of the Legendary crests or chests is actually really generous. I know that might sound a little weird, but you compare to the rate of return on, heroes you've already maxed in other games, and this is actually a really good system. If you're looking for more information about those museum relics that I was mentioning earlier in the video, card will be in the end screen, and consider subscribing if you haven't already, because I definitely want to get my hands on a Relic Khan and also a Relic Saladin to do some testing with that, so subscribe so you don't miss when that happens.